type yes into a chat if you can see my screen and hear my voices. Okay, cool. Let's get that out of the way and put this on show. Okay. Oh, what's this? Okay, I'll just have it like this. Okay, so my name is Neil. I am a level 1 judge from Thailand, currently based in Bangkok. I have been judging for about 2 years now. My presentation today will be about a module double face card, which is the latest addition from MTG latest set. What test you mean, Chris? Anyway, the latest edition from the MTG latest set in Seneca Rising. Well, this is not the first time we are introduced to a double face card in Magic. These double face cards offer something a little different than the previous generation. During the presentation, if you have any question, please feel free to type them in chat. I will try to answer them as I go along, or make sure to get to them during the Q&A. Please note that sometime I will refer to model double face cards simply as MDFC, which is shorthanded. Will refer to the Syndicate card, and the other double face card from previous set are simply called DFC or double face card. So today the content will be the introduction, the difference between the old and the new, some rule and interaction as usual, and how to use the double face card in tournament setting, and we will close off with a Q&A. So basic introduction into a double face card. They are module, so you can choose the either side. This is different from the old one, which is why they call module. The front face will be marked by a single black triangle. It will all, for this set only, it will be either instant, sorcery, or creature spell. And the back is marked by a double white triangle, and it will always be a land card. So the difference is that the original DFC, like the Civilized Scholar you see on the screen, you can only choose to play the front or cast the front side. You cannot access the back side when you're casting, but it can be transformed upon meeting certain condition into the back face, or from the back face into the front face. It can also enter the battlefield transform if instructed to do so. However, for the new card, like Academy's Awakening, you have the choice to either play the front side, the sorcery, or playing the back side, the black face, which is the land. And there are no transforming for MDFC. So the first distinction is you don't have a choice which side you play for the old card. And that because there are no transforming MDFC, there are no turning it upside or down. You only have the characteristic of the front face or the back face is on the battlefield. If the FX trying to turn MDFC face up or face down, we just have to ignore it. We will talk about that later on the slide when we go on about the transforming MDFC. Another notable difference is how the converted mana costs are considered. The converted mana cost of MDFC is based on the characteristic of the face that is being considered only. So on a stack on a battlefield, consider whichever side is up. In all other zones, consider on the front face. This is different than how the other double face card is determined. Because if you remember, the converted mana of the Homicidal Brute, the backside of Civilized Scholar, is 3, right? Because even though the Homicide Brute doesn't have converted mana cost itself, you will have to refer to its front face to determine the converted mana cost. On the other hand, the new Seneca Rising card, if you, for example, if Umara Skyfall is on a battlefield, it doesn't have the converted mana cost of 5, which is the converted mana cost of the front phase. Because on the battlefield, it exists solely as the land. Okay, I hope I went on that clear enough. If there's any question, please make sure to type them into chat. So playing MDFC is like playing a regular magic card, right? You just simply choose which side to play, the front or the back. And while on the stack or on the battlefield, it will only have characteristic of the phase that is up, the side that you choose to play. So playing them is pretty straightforward. So let's see how the MDFC interact with other cards. Since when it's not on a battlefield or it's not on a stack, it's only have the characteristic of the front face, right? This means you can't use card like Uro to put the land side of the double face card into play, or search them via our promise, as this game will only see the front face characteristic. When Uro enters the battlefield, it will check to see, it will allow you to put a land card from your hand into play. However, at that point, your double face card is simply a non-land card, so therefore you cannot put it into play. Okay, straightforward. So what about trying to play double face card from anywhere other than your hand? So there are 3 things that we need to consider. So these are like the 3 points that you should check if you see if you can play. For example, can you play a double face card from Crucible of the Will effect or the Modal effects, for example? So if an effect allows you to play a specific module double face card, you may cast it as a spell or play as a land as determined which phase you are choose to play. If an effect allows you to cast rather than play a specific module double face card, you can't play it as a land. So the key word here is cast versus play. You can't cast a land, but you can play a land. So if the word is cast, you have to cast only the front side and you cannot play the black side. Okay? If an effect allows you to play a land or cast a spell from among a group of cards, you may play or cast a module double face card with any phase that fits the criteria of the effect. So let's go back to the Crucible of the Will. So Crucible of the Will says you may play a land card from your graveyard. Therefore, you have to consider both sides characteristic of the MDFC to see if that fits the criteria or not. In this case, the backside of all the Seneca double face card is a land. Therefore, using Crucible of the Will effect, you may play the land side since that is legal and fits the criteria of the effects that allow you to do so. In the Modal case, you can play the front face if it's a creature, or a permanent card, or the back side, which is the land. So you have an option there to which you can choose. And also the last point is to determine whether it is legal to play a module double face cast, consider only the characteristic of the phase you are playing and ignore the other phase characteristic. So let's go hand in hand with the second point. Check if it's met the legal requirement and check only the characteristic that you are intended or wanted to play. Here, another example of the cast versus play is Chandra Torch of Defiance. Because Chandra specifically said that exile the top card of your library, you may cast that card. So this is referring to the first point that you have to cast it, therefore you can only play the front side, and therefore you cannot play it as the land using Chandra's effect. Okay, I will put that up for a few moments just to let it sink in. Okay. So the next instruction is something that's quite common in Magic, which Am I back? Hello? Okay, sorry about that. My my headphone just decided to turn off. So you guys got the slide before, right? Only for this slide. Okay, cool. Okay, back to Blink. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. So if double face card is tried to be put onto the battlefield, it will enter with it face up as a default. If that front face can't be put onto the battlefield, then it doesn't enter and stay on its current zone. So for example, if we cast Ghostly Thicket targeting Umra Skyfall will be exiled and will then be returned front face up onto the battlefield, which is the Umara wizard. That is very straightforward, right? What happens if we try to blink something that with a front fade is not a permanent card? For example, if we blink the Academe, the Undercrypt, so you exile the Undercrypt, but then upon trying to re-enter the game see that the front face is a permanent, Academe Awakening is a sorcery, so it cannot re-enter the battlefield because it's not a permanent card, and it will just stay forever in exile. It will just remain there. Okay. The next thing that we need to take note is the card name for the double face card. Double face card is essentially a single card, but it has two names, so it is unique in that case. It has two unique entity. So if an effect instructs the player to choose a card name, the name of either face may be chosen. If the effects or link refers to a spell with the chosen name being cast or land with the chosen name being played, it's only considered the chosen name and not the other face name. So the both names are not linked, right? If you choose one, the game only refer to that side and not the other side. So how does that work? So let's say if my opponent is controlling a Rune Halo and naming Shadow Skull Smashing. Okay, I have a typo there. Opponent will be protected from the front face only. Let me fix this. Right, so opponent will be protected from the front face only. Let's say you animate the land side using Nisa, the new Nisa ability, and attack an opponent with it. Your opponent will still take 3 damage, take 3 combat damage, since Rune Halo only protect them from the front side. Another example is, let's say, Meddling Mage. If Shadow Skull Smashing was named, then you can still play this card on the land side, the Shadow Skull, the Hammer Pass, right? So let's say if, for instance, both side of this was a spell card, for example, naming one side would not prevent you from casting or playing the other side. Okay. Okay, so the most confusing thing that I had to read about was transforming the module double face card. So I guess the easy way to say is that it can be put. The module double face card can't be transformed or put onto the battlefield transform. Since it's very different from the old one, it doesn't have like the transform side, or it just have either back or front, right? Its module is different. So if there is some instruction that is trying to transform a module double face card, you just ignore it. So for example, if an Ixodron into the battlefield, it will try to turn the module double face card face down, but since it doesn't have a face, it can't transform, it will just stay as it is. If it's a creature, it will stay as a creature. If it's a land, it will stay as a land. Right? The other thing is manifesting. If a card is manifested, it will be put onto the battlefield face down. This is also true for the module double face card. Before you can't morph the double face card, but manifest allows you to work around that. While it is face down, it can transform. It will be turning. If it is turned face up, it will just have its front side face up. You can't choose to turn it with a face up or on a face down on the back side. So if it's the front side is a creature, you can just pay the mana cost and to manifest it. And if you do, the front face will be up. Okay. So given the new card, it will you all probably have this as a judge. You probably all see this before, and the rule is that any card in any hidden zone must be indistinguishable from other cards in the same zone. So with some sleeve, you can actually see through the back of the double face card, and this is wrong because you are not allowed. You're not supposed to know which card is which in your library, which is the hidden zone. And also the same problem will happen if the player doesn't want to use the sleeve. Therefore, it will be handy for tournament organizers to have some of these substitute card ready when in the tournament setting, because a player might be willing to replace some of their double face card with a substitute card, but not replacing their whole sleeve, right? So in a tournament setting, I think I suggested that every start of the tournament, you make sure that all the players check their sleeve, that the card is not visible from the back, and if it's not, then they should contact the judge or ask for the substitute card or change the sleeve, whichever they prefer. Also, another problem I see, I experience myself, is that sometimes player tends to take shortcuts. They will just say that, oh, I will play this card as a land, but they don't flip the card over and just place them on the land pile. While they have no bad intention, they just want to save time, this can lead into a pretty unclear game state or potential to cheat. Sometimes they might just say, oh, where did that creature came from? Where did you play it? Oh, I played it 2 turns earlier. Did you not notice? This can just lead to a lot of complication later on in the game, mostly during limited game, but it probably can also happen in constructed as well. So if you walk around, you just see, if you see people putting creatures onto the land side, you just have to make sure, hey, is that you intended to play that as a land or as a creature? If you so, please put on correct zone and proceed from there. Okay. I guess that's it. Most of the modal double face card most of it is pretty straightforward. I think you all should probably have most of this down already. I think we finished a little bit early. If there are any questions, please type them in chat. So Keith said that I found many players double sleeve or triple sleeve their card and cannot turn to the black side easily. Yeah, that is also a problem, right? I would usually myself, I prefer to use substitute card. It's just so much more convenient. Okay, I guess most of it are pretty straightforward. Are there any questions? So QJ is the most interesting rules question that you encountered or read about. Yeah, the QJ, the most frustrating thing I'm trying to understand is probably the transforming stuff. Is most of the other stuff is pretty straightforward. The transforming just got me into like a weird face up, face down transforming kind of mindset. So Ace Herrera, can I play the land side of MDFC on a growth spiral. Let me check the text on the growth spiral real quick. I usually remember these kind of stuff when I play a lot of standard. Am I back? Okay. Let's go back to the growth spiral first. So yeah, you can't put the land side of the MDFC with growth spiral, because when you growth spiral, you draw a card. The game's trying to check. The game sees if you have any land card in your hand. If you do so, you may put it. MDFC is not a land card during that time. It will only exist at the front face, so you can't put it onto the battlefield. About cascading MDFC, cascading is the same. When you cascade, you only see the front. So, and I think cascade only allows you to cast a spell as well. So you, in that case, you can only cast the front side. Jose? Question, what happened when between players, game player forget to flip the card of the black face up? I don't think that is a problem, as long as, you know, when they play it, they put the correct side up. So I don't think we should bother with, it's a good practice on the player part, right? But I don't think it will be the case where we have to check if the players is like flipping the card back and forth on the correct side when they play. It should be only when it's on the battlefield that the correct place is up. If an MDFC is not on a battlefield, is there any penalty if the player leave the back side up in the sleeve? No, I don't think so. During deck check, no, I don't think we should. I thought we should not penalize someone for that, right? It's essentially the same card. Robin, if somehow player sleeve is see-through and competent REL, is the player will be given any penalty? You look. I think in this case you look at intent, right? This is the same when you do a deck check and a mark for mark card. For the first time, if I see it, I would just ask them nicely, hey, you guys, this is a problem. The back is see-through. Do you have a backup sleeve? If it's not, can you use the substitute card? And I'll just make a mental note that this player have a problem with the sleeve, and just maybe walk around and check him again if he is still trying to gain an advantage by not having a see-through sleeve, and I think we can look in the potential of a mark card. I think that would be how I would proceed it. Okay, my audio probably fell off during the last bit. I hope I got everyone's answers already. Did I miss anyone out? Please type in chat. Okay, QJ is making a very good point, actually. Thank you, QJ. So forgetting to put the back the front side back on default. Okay, that's a mouthful. As usual, you should always investigate the stage of something like if it was a spell land MDFC and the player get Dorsey and didn't realize it was an MDFC he could have gotten, then we need to investigate further. Thank you, QJ. I did not think of that. Draft said, since many players are too lazy to flip through the backside, this could be ditching a bit more troublesome if you can't remember card. Yeah, that is true. Question: if we must discard a land card, can we choose to discard the MDFC backside? Nope. This is go back to the same logic about the growth spiral and the cascade. The game only sees the front side when it's not anywhere other than the battlefield. So it will be considered as a non-land card when you try to discard it. Can you explain about MDSC creature mutated by any mutated creature and forced to be face down by Ixtodron? Oh, that is a very good question. I did not think of that. I would have to look into that, Benny. Unless some of the level 2 can assist me on that. But I will get back to you. I will do some research and get back to you. But my hunch is that I don't think it can be face down. Alvin, some of the LGS player that play Upsal Spell Modern just straight put their land card face up. Yeah, that deck is a monstrosity. I think it's gonna be banned soon. Okay, so Vern said if competitive RL, if player sleep is not opaque, there should be at least a mark card infraction. Thank you, Vern. Okay. Edison, would burgeoning allow me to put MDFC spell or land card into play? Burgeoning. Oh, burgeoning. No. Same thing. You need when opponent play a land card, you can put a land card from your hand into play, right? No, so no, you can't do that. The game will only see it as a spell card. It will only work with something like exploration, right? You can play more land card. So QJ saying, draft question about CPV. My IPG is rusty. I don't think there is failure to follow tournament official instruction calls to CPV anymore. Thank you, QJ. Okay. Moderators, do I put up the link to the questionnaire, the question now?
getting it ready. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be sending the quiz link in the chat. So it's a mandatory thing for every participant to answer the questions in the quiz. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to put up the link in just a couple of minutes. And everyone, if you are in this presentation, you will have to answer the quiz. Just give me another 1-2 minutes. It will be up in the group chat once I got it ready. Just hang on a bit.
Yeah, so I see during the last set of questions, there's a lot about effects that put. So just remember the distinction is play versus cast or put. If it says cast or put, you can't access the backside. If it's say play, then you can access the backside. That's probably the quick way of remembering this kind of stuff.
All right, everyone. Yeah, thank you, QJ, for shortening up the link. So the quiz link is already up. Take a couple of minutes to answer that. That will be your participation check to this current topic. Since we ended early, once you have completed the quiz, the time until the next round of hour, which is another 19 minutes from now. Once you're done with the quiz, it will be all break time until 9 a.m. Malaysia time. That would be 8 a.m. for Ireland and Indonesia. So go ahead and do the quiz. We'll see you guys back in another 19 minutes. If there's no further questions, I guess we can conclude this. If you are interested with the next topic, you can just stay currently online in the Zoom group. We'll see you guys back in a bit.
Okay, thank you everyone. Hope you guys have a pleasant morning.